Hi, and welcome to SkillShark. In this tutorial, we will show you how to set up SkillShark from start to finish. You will notice we provide chapters in the video, just in case you need to jump to a specific section. If you're new to the software, please follow each chapter step by step. The beginning steps are very important to complete before opening the app. Don't forget, if you have any questions, you can simply use our chatbot or book a demo from our website. Okay, let's get started. We're going to walk you through creating your trial account from SkillShark.com. If you haven't already, go ahead and create your username and password. Please note, the password you choose will also be used when logging into the app. We're going to now select Owner or Coach, followed by the sport we're evaluating, and then who we will evaluate. In most cases, you will be evaluating athletes. However, if you evaluate athletes and coaches, for example, you can do this easily by creating a new group in your account. We will show you how to create new groups later in the video. Okay, next we are taken to Book Now. Here you will select a time for your free onboarding call. We will take you through your account setup and teach you how to use player development tools like report cards, player progress tracking, and leaderboards. Booking your setup call will make things much easier for you in the long run. When you have your time booked, simply tab back to your SkillShark account to continue. Manage players. The very first step to setting up your account is adding players. We're going to hit 10 sample players to show you how this works. Editing players. Editing players is easy. Simply select Edit beside the player name. From here, you can remove evaluation categories, update player names, and change jerseys. Adding players. To manually add players, you can simply select Add Player. You will be given the option to add players to a list or an upcoming event. Since we only want to add one player and we don't have any lists or events created yet, we're going to hit Save and Close. Please note, creating player lists is an important piece to organizing your evaluations. Please make sure you watch how to create player lists later in the video. Edit custom fields. Okay, let's say we wanted to import a player list using Excel. We also want to create custom fields that say height and weight. To do this, make sure you're in the Manage Players section. From here, you will select the three dots on the right of Import, select Edit Custom Fields, input height and weight, and then hit Save. You will now see height and weight added to your columns. When we export the CSV from SkillShark, they will also be applied. Importing players. Okay, now we are ready to import players. Go ahead and select Import. From the options, we're going to select the Spreadsheet Import Players. We will now download the template. When your CSV is downloaded, you can open the document and start adding your player details. You'll also notice our height and weight custom fields have been applied. Once you've filled out the CSV in the format provided, simply hit Save. You're now ready to upload your player document to SkillShark. Once you have your players uploaded, your template customized, and your first event created, you will then be ready to download the SkillShark app. Creating groups. If you're an organization or coach who offers multiple sports, or maybe you're evaluating both athletes and coaches, you might want to have separate groups. In each group, coaches can customize a new template to match their group's criteria. This player data will be completely separate from other groups. To create more than one group, you will need to select your group name, Manage Groups, then Add New. Please note, you will need to upgrade to a paid SkillShark account to access unlimited groups. Creating player lists. In this video, we're going to talk about how to create player lists and explain why they are important. First, navigate to your Manage Players section. Using the menu on the left, select Players. Then, select Manage Players. Here is where you create your player lists. Player lists are great for splitting up groups, such as age, draft picks, and camps spanning multiple days. They are also good for breaking out region, location, and teams. You can have multiple players in multiple lists, which helps keep things organized and efficient. If instructed, evaluators can easily select these lists while using the app. First, we will show how lists can be used. Let's take a look at this hockey group, for example. For scoring this camp, they have created 3 different lists, named Day 1, Group A, B, and C. For Day 2, they would then organize players in lists based on their results from Day 1 and so on. Okay, now let me show you how easy it is to create your own list. I'm going to select 5 players to create my list. Now I'm going to hit Bulk Actions. Then I will select Add Players to List. I'm going to call this one U13. Now I'm going to take only the red jerseys and put them on a list named Zone 1 Red. If I want to delete that list, I can simply do so by clicking the 3 dots to the right of the list. Now, take out your phone and head to the app. Select your event. At the top right of your screen, click Player Lists and apply filters. Using lists is just that easy. Evaluation template. The evaluation template is the template that will be used for all your evaluation events. If you do not evaluate all players using the same metrics, you can simply create another group and have a different template for those players. To do this, select the drop-down arrow by your group name, then select the plus arrow to add another group. If you're a paid account holder, you have the ability to do this. As a paid account holder, you will also have access to an unlimited number of groups and unlimited evaluators. Okay, let's get started with our template. Select Evaluation Settings from the left navbar. Then select Evaluation Template. You'll notice 3 categories to the left: Catcher, Fielding, Pitching. The plus arrow beside categories allows you to easily add whatever categories you like. For example, you might have more than one positional category if you evaluate positions differently. The category Fielding Positions, for example, would be scored and evaluated differently than pitchers and catchers. We're going to start with the category Fielding. Let's select the character metrics. Now, click on the metric you would like to edit or view. We can see this score is subjective between 0 and 10, and both the increment and the subjective rating can be changed. Select Preview to see what it will look like to evaluators. Now click Save. If for some reason you wanted to delete the metric, you would click on the 3 dots to the right of each metric. To add a new metric, simply select Add Metric. Another character metric might be something like communication. Keep in mind, the metric you add should align with the skill grouping. For example, we might add something like 40-yard dashed speed. We're going to go ahead and add this new metric. Since we are scoring this only once, we will select Single Score. Go ahead and select Seconds for the unit. This will initiate the stopwatch. If you're scoring more than once, you simply select Type and change it to Multi-Score. You can go to the preview and see the change and select Save. Please note, your new custom template will appear in the SkillShark app as soon as you create your first event. If you change or delete metrics after an evaluation, you will delete any data connected to that metric. However, if you add skills and metrics to your template, they will show up in later reports as the scores are collected. Pre-filled comments. Pre-filled comments are a quick and effective way for coaches and evaluators to leave quick feedback to athletes. These are often pieces of advice that coaches find themselves repeating throughout an evaluation. Typically, they include both constructive comments as well as those to reinforce positive behavior or performance. When pre-filled comments are set by the admin, they can be easily accessed by coaches and evaluators when using the app. We are now going to show you how this works. First, head to your evaluation settings and select Pre-filled Comments. You will notice the template is much like your evaluation template. In this case, the comments will be specific to the skill as opposed to each metric. It's important to note where you create these comments. For example, the goalie comments will be under the skill specifically for goalie, and so on. In this group, you will notice there are already pre-filled comments that exist. We will simply add to them. Under the category Positional, let's go ahead and select the drop-down Puck Handling. We are now going to select Add Comment, and we're going to type Keep your head up while controlling the puck. Just like that, the pre-filled comment saves and is now available in the mobile app. Pre-filled comments when using the mobile app. We are now going to open the mobile app. Simply head over to Puck Handling using the top navigation. Here we will select the note icon beside any of these metrics. You will notice our comment and all other pre-filled comments are all ready to tap in. As soon as the pre-filled comment is added, you will see a green dot indicating feedback has been left. The feedback will instantly generate on the player report card. If need be, the admin can easily hide evaluator comments using the Edit tab in Player Reports. Using pre-filled comments is just that easy. Adding categories to players. Categories are often used when evaluating players differently. When looking at the evaluation template, for example, we will select the category Catcher. You will notice Catcher has skills and metrics only related to catching. If we now select the category Pitching, there are skills and metrics only related to pitching. Positions are a great example of how categories are used. In our case, we're going to make a new category called Skills Camp. Something like this will work well as a new category. We're going to add our new category Skills Camp, then hit Save. Something like this will work well as a new category. This is because our Skills Camp has its own set of skills and metrics, much like our other categories. It's important to note that once you create a new category, you must now tag players to that category. The category indicates what positions, metrics, and skills are tied to each player. If they are removed, they are also removed for evaluators and for reports. Okay, let's assign our new category to Select Players. Simply head over to the Manage Players section. Now click Edit beside the player. When the player drawer opens, under Jersey you will see Evaluation Categories. Here you can remove or add categories specific to each player. We're going to add our Skills Camp, then hit Save. It's just that easy. Okay, so what if you wanted to add multiple players to a new category? Let's go ahead and try it. Select a small handful of players. Now hit Bulk Actions and choose Add Categories. We have now added multiple players to our category Skills Camp. We can also do this using Excel. Let's go ahead and export all players as a CSV. When you open the file, you can now see your new category is there. Here you can mark with an X in the categories that apply to each player. When finished, make sure you save the file. Then you'll head back into the Players section and select Import. After the import, the category updates will now be applied. Creating an event. Creating an event is one of the most important steps when building your evaluation. Once your event is created, it will automatically appear in the SkillShark app. If you're on a paid account, you'll have access to unlimited events. Having unlimited events allows you to assess players multiple times a year if you choose. This helps coaches know where players are at mentally and physically throughout the season. Okay, let's create your first event. Make sure you've selected Events from the left-hand navigation. From here, we're going to click Add New. You'll have the option to select a tryout camp showcase, a team evaluation, or a self-assessment. Since we're evaluating a large group, we will select Tryout Camp Showcase. Please note, if you'd like to know more about self-assessments, simply head to the Report section and click Self-Assessments to watch the tutorial. Now, go ahead and name your event. make sure you input the start date and time. If you have a camp spanning multiple days, we recommend putting an end date. If you need to hide player names or positions from evaluators, you may do so here. Please note, events are automatically moved to the past events section 24 hours after they end. Okay, the next step is inviting evaluators. Simply type the evaluator's email and click Add to Event. Then make sure you check off all the boxes for the evaluators you wish to invite. After you hit Continue, you'll be asked if you would like to notify evaluators, or continue on. We usually like to inform evaluators, especially if they are new, so we're going to select Send Emails. Any new evaluators will be sent an email with instructions on how to get started. Add players. We're now ready to add players. Since we only want to evaluate our U11 players, and we've created a list for each age group, we're going to select specific player lists. Selecting our U11 list and hitting Continue. You can now see your event from the dashboard. Please note, you can edit your event at any time, meaning if you need to add more players or evaluators, you can easily do so. For example, if I recently uploaded new players and didn't tag them to upcoming events, I can click Edit on my event, select Players, and hit Not Attending. I can now easily add any new players to my event. The three dots to the right give you the ability to export player data to Excel, or duplicate your event. Duplicating event works great if you're evaluating the same player group or for self-assessments. When creating multiple self-assessments, you might want to use similar questions or make slight revisions. You also have the ability to score players by simply clicking Evaluate from the event. If you'd like to lock your event to limit any changes after an evaluation, simply hit the toggle beside the lock icon. If you want to export data from all your events, select Export from the dashboard. Creating events is just that easy. Adding evaluators. Most often there will be a team of volunteers or paid employees scoring the evaluation. In an effort to make this as easy as possible, SkillShark can be used on any device. This includes both Android and Apple products and phone, tablet, and desktop screens. SkillShark can be used both online and offline. If you will have good coverage and reception, we recommend using a web browser. If you'll be in an area with potential dead spots, you can download the app from either the Google Play or the iTunes Store. To add evaluators to your group, simply enter their emails. They will receive an email with instructions to create their account. Once they have accepted your invitation, you can upgrade them to an administrator. An admin will receive the same privileges that you do in the account and be able to run reports and see all data. You can remove these privileges at any time. If an evaluator does not get upgraded, they will only be able to see their own data as they collect it. Please note, SkillShark will sync automatically, meaning your players, templates, and lists will update in real time, as well as scores you collect while using the app. Downloading the app. Okay, now you're ready to download the SkillShark app. You can download it from your Events tab, or simply visit your Apple or Android stores. Once the app is downloaded, you can simply open it from your device, use your same SkillShark email and password to access your events. Please note, SkillShark will sync automatically, meaning your players, templates, and lists will update in real time, as well as scores you collect while using the app. Scoring an event. The mobile app is available for free and can be downloaded on both the Apple iTunes or Google Play Store. Evaluations can be scored on phone, tablet, or desktop screens in either online or offline mode. Once evaluators are added to an event, they will be asked to create their SkillShark account if they don't have one. Once an account is created and the app is downloaded, they can log in to see any events they have been invited to. Once the event is selected, the first question is, who are you evaluating? The evaluator can filter players by several means or by any pre-assigned lists that may have been created. plus sign in the upper right corner can be used to manually add any walk-on players that have arrived. Next, the evaluator is asked, what are you evaluating? The evaluator can select any or all skills that they are assigned to gather data for. Once done, hit Start Evaluation. Skill choices will be seen at the top with a colored dot beside each. The red, yellow, or green dots represent the progress of data collection for that athlete by the evaluator. Evaluators will enter information on a subjective sliding scale or via box entries for objective information. Comments or video for each metric can be added as well. A list of customized messages to choose from may be created by the admin, so evaluators can just add an applicable comment with the tap of their finger. In the upper right corner, we can choose to add the headshots of the athletes and change any personal data, including primary and secondary positions and what areas the athlete is being evaluated in. For example, let's say Josh wants to try out as a pitcher. Then the evaluator can add them to the pitcher category. Let's hit the hamburger in the upper left corner. This screen shows the progress of data being gathered among all athletes. If evaluators are focused on only one metric at a time, for example recording 60-yard dash run times, then they can choose to go to our lightning view by hitting Metrics. Choose the metric you wish to gather data for, and all the athletes will appear in a single screen as the scores are gathered. After data is collected, it is time for the fun part, running reports.
Player reports. Player reports are an exciting way to give feedback to your athletes. They give the coach a good visual of how the athlete is doing in comparison to the team, and allow organizations to see where coaching needs to be implemented. Player reports help athletes gain a solid understanding of what they're doing well and what they need to work on. Please note, player reports only appear when data is collected. If you haven't had an evaluation yet, you can simply view this video for educational purposes. Okay, let's get started. On the left-hand menu, navigate to Reports. Then select Individual Reports. The first thing you want to do is make sure you have an event or events selected you would like to show data for. We're going to go ahead and select all our events, then hit Apply Filter. If you wanted to send reports to a select group of players, you would simply check the box beside the players' names, then hit Bulk Actions. Here you can export them as a PDF or email them directly to your players. To send the individual report or customize what the athlete sees, go ahead and select View beside the player name. At the top of the report, you can see the event name and player details. You will also notice rank displayed for each skill and metric. You can easily show or hide these details simply by clicking the Edit tab. Go ahead and hover over Player Details, Display Options, and Group Score Visibility. We are going to deselect Metric Rank. We also want to show the table view for character metrics. We will now hit Save, and our settings will be applied to all player reports. Our report is ready to send. You can easily send the report from here when you click Send Report. Or, if you had multiple events, or you wanted to send reports quickly to your group, we can head over to the Athlete Locker Room. You can get to the Athlete Locker Room using the side navigation or on the home page of Reports. Once in ALR, you will see a full list of your tryouts. Go ahead and select the events you want to send out reports for. After you click Send Invites, you are able to write a message to your athletes before sending. Now that we've sent the report, we can check to see if the report went through. Select View Emails. You can now see the athletes that received the report and which ones did not. This allows you to go back and make any email updates if necessary. These reports are also available to athletes in the mobile app.
All scores. After your evaluation, you can easily see a breakdown of results for all players, events, skills, and metrics. Simply navigate to Reports in the left-hand column from your dashboard, then select All Scores. This works great for analyzing results as well as drafting players to teams. The results displayed are from your most recent evaluation event. You can easily change this by using the filters. By using filters, you're able to show scores from specific events, player lists, jersey colors, or teams. In our case, we want to analyze data from all our events. We're going to go ahead and select all events, then hit Apply Filters. You'll notice the colors displayed change based on a range of high and low values. The higher the value, the better the score. This makes it easy to quickly view performance results. Now that we have scores generated, we can select Breakdown Scores and select the specific categories and skills we want to view. Or we can select the category breakdown from the chart. For this example, we're going to select Category Breakdown for positional players only. Here we can easily use the up and down arrows to the right of each skill. This will quickly allow you to find your highest and lowest scores. From here, you can draft players to teams based on your criteria. Using all scores is just that easy. Editing scores. Very rarely you might have an evaluator give an incorrect score by mistake. You can easily edit this using all scores. Simply find the category where the mistake has occurred, select Skill Breakdown, then hit Details beside the metric that needs to be fixed. Select the event, input the number manually, or use the slider to adjust the score. When you've finished your edits, simply hit X, and your scores will be automatically updated. Editing scores is just that easy.
Weighted reports. Welcome to weighted reports. Weighted reports are used after an evaluation and are fully customizable by the coach to weigh out players according to his or her recipe. A coach will use weighted reports to find top athletes in various categories, draft players, and create teams. Okay, so let's create our first weighted report. Now, think of what you want to create. Keep in mind you can create as many of these reports as you like. For example, you can have top players and toggle on each category. Since we are looking for our top hitters, we'll simply toggle on one category. We'll call it Top Hitters. Now we'll turn on metrics related to hitting. Here you can adjust the weighting to be whatever you like. For example, a player's hitting mechanics and power might not be as important as the ability to make contact with the ball. Now, let's go ahead and create our report. Here we can see our top hitters based on our weighting. You will notice a color to the right of the player. The higher the number, the better the score. The colors help us quickly see who the top players are for easy drafting and team creation. Now let's head over to the Filters tab. It's important to make sure the right events are selected. Since we are wanting best overall, we will select all events. Scroll to the top of the page, click the Events filter, then select the events and click Apply Filters. Now that we have the events we are looking for, let's go ahead and draft players to teams. You will notice we have teams created. However, you can create teams easily from the dropdown. You can now download your report or export to a CSV. If you wish to view your assigned teams at any time, simply select the Players tab and select Teams.
Individual development. Individual development is an excellent way to see how players are progressing. These reports provide coaches with clear insight into their players. It makes it easy for coaches to view their players' progression over time. It also allows coaches to show athletes directly how they've been improving. This is great for the athlete to visually see the impact of their efforts. Keep in mind, reports will only display when data is collected. In this section, coaches will gain an understanding of how their players are doing individually, whereas compare development and strengths versus weaknesses will allow coaches to compare multiple players at once. Okay, let's show you how this works. First, let's head over to the events filter. We will go ahead and select the events we want to show data for. Since we want to see how our player is progressing over a series of events, we will leave all events selected. In our case, we would like to only view individual players within a list. Then we will click Apply Filters. Okay, now that we have our players selected, let's go ahead and click Metrics Select. We will now select the metrics we want to show data for. In our case, we would like to focus only on character metrics. Once selected, we can now see historical trends specifically for each data point. Here we will select the player we would like to show progress for. Once selected, if we want to see scores for these metrics, we can simply hover over each data point. If we wish to delete a metric, simply click on the X beside the metric below. Viewing player progression is just that easy. Compare development. Comparing development is an excellent way to see how players are performing in comparison to other players. This would be specific to evaluation metrics over a period of time. This reporting works great for showing athlete development. Always keep in mind, these reports will only display once data is collected. Okay, let's get started. First, let's head over to the Events filter. Here we will select the events we want to show data for. Since we want to see how players compare over a series of events, we will leave all events selected. In our case, we would only like to compare players within a specific age group. This will be easy since we've separated our age groups using player lists. Okay, let's head over to the Player Lists filter. Now we will select the list we want to show players for. Then we will click Apply Filters. If you like, you can also select players in specific categories or teams. To do this, you would simply hover over More Filters and select either the teams, categories, or jersey colors. Now that we have our correct filters in place, let's go ahead and select the metric. In our case, we are wanting to compare hitting contact. We will now go ahead and hit Select beside hitting contact. You will notice the report is named Contact, confirming we have our correct metric selected. We can now easily select and deselect players we would like to compare. If we want to see scores for these metrics, we can simply hover over each data point. Comparing players is just that easy. Strengths versus weaknesses. Strengths versus weaknesses is an excellent way for coaches to compare players on select skills and metrics. This reporting works great when selecting top players and making team placement decisions. Additionally, coaches can quickly view strengths and weaknesses when selecting final draft picks. The other application you could use this for is benchmarking. For example, you could have one of your licenses represent a pro athlete, then you could input performance data for that athlete. Using the chart, you would then select the pro athlete and show players how they compare. Benchmarking is a great way to enhance athlete performance. Okay, let's go ahead and create our first comparison. We will now head over to the Events filter and select the events we want to show data for. We can also select player lists or use more filters. You can easily select players using categories, teams, and jersey color. Okay, now that we have our filters in place, we will select either skills or metrics. For example, we might be looking to compare skills for fielding positions. We're going to go ahead and select skills within our category fielding. Here we can easily add or take away skills. We can also select different players we would like to compare. In our case, we would like to find the top hitter for our travel team. To do this, we will need to head over to our Metrics tab. We will now select the metrics only related to hitting. We can now compare our top hitters to see who will make the team. This process allows coaches to make better, more informed decisions using the data collected.
Leaderboards. Leaderboards are a great way to display the ranking of players during an event. Leaderboards can be a fun way to drive competition among your players. They are also great to display on a large TV during your tournament, camp, combine, or showcase event. Leaderboards are exciting for both parents and fans as they get a good visual of their athletes' performance. SkillShark leaderboards are customizable and display live data at your event. This means the data is displayed instantly after a score is given. Okay, let's get started. To create your leaderboard, you must first have the All-Star or Legend tier. For those who are either of these tiers, please follow along and build your own as we go. It's important to note that leaderboards are generated from weighted reports. We'll show you exactly how this works in the video. Select Leaderboards from the left-hand menu. Now click Create Weighted Report. Here we are going to build a weighted report so that we can create our first leaderboard. You might want to show top players, in which case you would toggle on all positions, including the metrics you want to show. We only want to show top hitters. Now toggle on the positions and metrics you would like to show. Now that we've turned on our metrics, we want to create a weighting for them using our own philosophies. For example, for hitting, we would like to have less importance on the mechanics so we can emphasize the importance of contact. All scores for this particular leaderboard will be generated using these settings. Now go ahead and click Create Report for top hitters. Your first weighted report is now created, meaning we can now generate our leaderboard. Select Leaderboards from the left-hand menu. Now click Create Leaderboard. You will notice that you can now select the weighted report that you just created. Name your leaderboard. Now check the box beside your new report. In our case, we will select top hitters. Now, review your events. Click off the events you would like to display for your leaderboard. This can be one event or a combination of events. Select Create. You will see the leaderboard is now live. Select View to access your new leaderboard. If you select Auto Cycle, the leaderboard will continue to cycle at your event. You will notice some players don't have scores yet. However, as evaluators enter these scores, the leaderboard will start to display live data. You can use the unique link above to share or access your leaderboard at any time. The link is public, meaning it can be shared and accessed easily by those you share it with. It also makes it easy to display on a smart TV, projector, or website. Athlete self-assessments. Welcome to Athlete self-assessments. Just like evaluation events, you can also build self-assessment events. Self-assessments are a great way to provide you with new insight into your players. For the athletes, self-assessments creates accountability and awareness, helping them align their mindset with their performance. The first step to creating a self-assessment is through the events page. Now that we are on the events page, we can create our self-assessment. Go ahead and click Add New. Let's call it Spring Self-Evaluation. We will set the due date for mid-April. For this example, we are going to create a self-evaluation to gain a better understanding of our athlete's character. We will now go ahead and form our evaluation metrics into questions. For example, how would you rate your leadership abilities on a 0 to 10 scale? Please describe why you gave this answer. Now that you've seen how this is done, you can simply toggle on the metrics you would like to include and rephrase them into questions for your athletes. The metrics you leave off will not be visible to the athlete. When you're finished creating your self-assessment, you can go ahead and click Continue. The next page asks what players you would like to invite, In this case, we're going to invite all players. Here we are asked to review the event. It's important to make sure all email addresses are valid to ensure the self-assessment is delivered to each athlete. After we click Create Event, you can immediately see if your self-assessment was sent successfully. You can update player emails, add, or revise simply by clicking Resend. You can easily toggle through the details of your self-evaluation using the tabs above. Athletes will now be prompted to download the mobile app and complete their self-evaluation before the due date. It will be good to remind players leading up to the event. As your athletes complete the assessment, their individual reports will start to appear. Self-assessment reports. You can click the View Scores button at the top or simply navigate to the Reports section and select Self-Assessments. If for some reason you can't see your reports, check you have the correct events selected. To view your player reports, simply click View and click between them using the left and right arrow buttons above the report. If you would like to download a PDF of the report, select the blue Download button to the right of the report.
Developmental resources. Developmental resources are a way for coaches to train and develop athletes using their very own resource library. This means that coaches can now automatically distribute developmental material after an evaluation. The athlete receives the report based on whatever rules the coaches decide. We will talk more about how this works shortly. The athlete will then receive these resources on their player report. Coaches are seeing exceptional value after implementing developmental resources. They find it's helping engage players while improving their overall performance. Please note that developmental resources will only be unlocked under our Legend plan. Okay, let's get started with creating our first resource. We're going to go ahead and select Add Resource. We are now on Basic Details. Here you can attach your desired resource simply by using a link. These can be any videos, PDFs, or web links. For example, we would like our players to work on shooting. We're going to take a tutorial link from YouTube. We'll simply copy our resource link and paste the link in here. We're going to name our resource Tips to Improve Shot Power and Accuracy. Now select Type. Here you have the option to select Video Link, Document Link, and Other Web Link. Since ours is from YouTube, we're going to select Video Link. Alright, the next step is Description. You can add a description for your players to see here, or simply hit Continue. We are now on Visibility Settings. This is where we decide how and when the resource will appear on player reports. Here you can select one of your lists where the resource may be applicable. An example would be applying the resource to a specific age range. In our case, we're going to select All Players. Since we are focused on shooting accuracy, we're going to select All Players and set the rules to ensure our resource is being sent to the right players. We will then toggle on Scores. Since shooting is a specific metric, we are going to select Metric Based. How the video is sent will be based on the player's all-time average score. If you like, you can select Skill Based if you wanted to send a general resource related to that whole skill. However, in our case we are wanting to be a bit more specific, so we will select Metric Based. We are going to select the metric shooting and hit Save. Here we will set the rule that all players will be sent our resource if they score less than 8 out of 10 on shooting. Once you have set the rule, you can now go ahead and click Publish. Okay, let's see what these resources look like on our player reports. Select Player Reports from the left-hand nav bar. Now, click Edit beside the player you would like to view. We're going to select Alan, as we know she received some of our resources. Once on the player report, you can simply scroll to the bottom of the report until you see Recommended Resources. Here is where all your developmental resources will live. This will allow your players to view any sent resources right from their report card. Streamlining communication with your players is just that easy.